Hi, my name is Jeremy Crow, and I wanted to talk to you about the concept of lineages within the occult community, and basically describe what they are, what is a lineage within an occult community, why people are interested in it, how it's actually implemented, and what you can do about it. So what are we talking about when we discuss lineages within the occult community? Well, the first thing, I might as well talk about genetic lineages, hereditary leadership, or traditions. So this is kind of like you would think of with aristocracy, with like a king, for example, and their firstborn son will become the next king, and so on and so forth. And that is a way that people value a lineage, a genetic lineage, as an authority figure. It's very similar, you see something like this sometimes within the witchcraft community. You'll find people describing themselves as, say, a 7th generation witch, for example. And that just means that they're the 7th generation in a row that was practicing witchcraft. At least that's what their claim is. And they use that usually to bolster their position within a community and justify their leadership positions. So another one of these lineages that occur within a spiritual community is, a good example is the Catholic Church. So what they claim is they claim a direct lineage all the way back to Jesus Christ. So there's a passage in the Bible where Jesus Christ says to Peter, or Simon at the time, he renames him Peter and says, "You're the rock upon which I will build my church." So they claim that Peter was the first bishop of the Catholic Church. And a bishop is a title that allows them to ordain new priests and new bishops, which can then ordain new priests. So it's all about the authority of who is allowed to provide the religious services, essentially. And they will say, okay, well, Peter was chosen, and then he can choose other people to continue it on, and those people can continue to carry it on. You can get to the level of where you can practice the services, but you can't make new priests. And then a bishop is basically a priest that can make new priests. And so they claim that they have this lineage all the way back to Jesus Christ, and that everybody then, all the bishops and priests today, also have a lineage back to Jesus Christ. And that's one of the concepts that we mean when we talk about lineage within an esoteric tradition. So the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn is an esoteric order system that is very, very common. The OTO uses the same basic structure, style of working, and it was actually created by some esoterically oriented Freemasons. And what they do is they had a lodge, and they were working the rituals, the initiation ceremonies, and in that way, the person who was like the initiator would be the person who was initiating the new people into the degree. And those people would then go on to initiate new people, and so on and so forth. Now, people who were initiated sometimes went off and started a new lodge in another city, and they had to have that lineage, otherwise it would be considered an unsanctioned or unauthorized lodge, or clandestine lodge. And they needed that lineage. That was a justification for them to be able to set up another group with the same name, doing the same rituals. And people would, I guess people like the concept of that continuity, and that some people feel that there's even a magical something that gets transferred, magical energy or something that gets transferred through that lineage, and that you, when you get the initiation, you receive that magic into you or something. They didn't really get so many lodges that they started to develop a Grand Lodge type system or a Supreme Council type system, but they do this in Freemasonry. And other groups, I believe the OTO also has a Grand Lodge style system as well, or council, high council type thing, where basically, once you get enough lodges, each of them can send a representative to form a Grand Lodge. And this ends up becoming the regulating entity, a centralized locus of power that over a certain region. So anybody who wants to start a new lodge in that region that they control, they have to get a charter from the Grand Lodge of that area, and they have to pay dues. They have to kick up some of the dues that they collect from the members to the Grand Lodge. And this can go several levels up. You can even have like a Supreme Council of the, higher degree structure of the Scottish Rite or something like that. And they will control another set of degrees, things like that. In a way, it's kind of like the way a motorcycle club will operate. Like if you want to set up a new chapter of the Hells Angels, for example, you can't just start one up. You have to get authorization from the established Hells Angels, and otherwise you could be in real serious trouble with the Hells Angels. Now, if you were to do that with, say, a Freemasonic lodge, start up your own, you're not going to encounter the same kind of problems as if you started a clandestine Hells Angels chapter. So what can you do about it? 1, you can perform these ceremonies without sanction. Don't ask for permission, just do it. Get a copy of the ritual from a bookstore. Most of these groups have their rituals published by somebody. You can find them online usually. Just do the rituals. Get your friends together and perform these rituals, and don't ask for permission. I know the OTO doesn't like it when you perform unsanctioned EGC Gnostic masses. Do that. Let everybody know that you're doing it too. Any of the meaning or magic that you may lose from the concept that there's a direct lineage, which, it's a very natural human thing to feel that kind of meaning in that connection. You can replace that with the magic of breaking a taboo, doing something that is unsanctioned. In itself has a magic to it. And this is the kind of magic that especially appeals to people that are on the left-hand path. So if you consider yourself a left-hand path occultist or a radical or a kind of iconoclast, go ahead and do these rituals without sanction, especially if you're telling people about it. Another thing you can do, of course, is to write your own. Write your own rituals, get your friends together to perform them. Don't start your Grand Lodge, or start them just for fun, and make fun of the concept. Give out free charters to anybody who wants them, anything like that, or just don't have any Grand Lodge at all. Another thing you can do is there's a new movement called the Occupy the Temple, and this is to educate people about what's going on in the occult community that there are issues with, that we want to get changed. And I'm not saying that people have to change what they're doing, but the people that want to, we want them to have the alternative. We want them to have things that they can do as an alternative to the mainstream status quo way of doing things. So go on Facebook, like the Occupy the Temple Facebook page and get involved in the discussions, start your own actions, anything like that, you know? Make your own videos. Just do something about it. Write your own rituals. Get people together to do unsanctioned rituals. And talk about it on the Facebook page. Get other people excited about what you're doing and inspire them to have the confidence to do it as well.